because this situation will have happened previously in 2009, where they will have attempted the same scenario, and there also was shut down through an injunction by the former president, Ms. Jennifer Batiste. Yet again, PTSC management did not learn their lesson in terms of they had to have proper consultation on these matters. Right? And they went ahead again and did the same thing in terms of purchasing the device.
It's almost as if they didn't learn from you last time.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They just reoccurred the same mistake.
Yeah.
Right? And they came again without proper consultation, just more a directive instead of consultation, and they attempted to implement the system. Right? We had one meeting that we will have raised some concerns, and we were to reschedule for our next meeting. When we did reschedule for the meeting, they canceled the meeting, yet still they will have sent out a notice to all employees indicating their intention to implement on the 1st of November.
So the meeting was called, it was cancelled, yet you have notice stating that they're just going ahead with the implementation of it.
Yeah, correct. So in that respect, we had to act. And what we did, we will have seek an injunction from the court, the industrial court, to have them stop the process that they wanted to implement on the 1st. So that will have served them an injunction on the 30th.
In the evening, actually. In the evening.
Actually, it will have been the 31st. The 31st.
Yeah.
On the 31st, we'll have served them an injunction, and we'll have gone to court on the 1st, right? Spearheaded by the president of the industrial court, Mrs. Deborah Thomas Philip, Honorable Deborah Thomas Philip, and she will have indicated that the injunction holds.
And I know Mr. Gregory Coover played a very vital role in this.
Yes, a pivotal role actually. That he will have come into, he will have had the first consultation meetings with them, and he will have raised the concerns of the members, membership in terms of what we were concerned about. Because at the end of the day, we are not against any automation system or technology. We embrace technology. Every day we use technology to help us in all our efforts. But it's how it is managed and the proper guidelines that will guide the system, and it will not be used as a means or a method to victimize workers.
Yeah.
So that was our concern.
But do you guys see this as something that was planned to be implemented, as something that would benefit the workers or take away from the workers? It's an open question.
Well, it has its pros and its cons, right? The pros is whereby when it comes to instances of short pay or calculating a salary, it would be automated, so it would be much easier. But our issue is that management is not meeting with us and discussing the fine-tuning it, fine-tuning the policy, fine-tuning the do's and the don'ts, who could do what, they're not doing that, and that is the issue that we are having. So, yes, there are pros, yes, there are ways where the biometrics, where the biometric comes into play, it will help. But then there are the cons, whereby they are not stating how this would affect workers.
Yeah.
So if you have
so they're just giving you one side of the story.
So they're not saying it in detail. They're not saying what this will cost. You know, if it would need less workers to do the job, right?
Interesting.
So yes, because it will have persons who will be checking time cards.
Yeah.
It will have persons who are doing leaves, right? So when the automated system comes into play, what will happen to these workers? And that is not what they are answering. And those are the questions we are asking, and they're not answering it. They don't want to have that kind of discussion, and that is what is worrying.
I think it's because we all know the answers to it. When you have these things being introduced or implemented, now it takes away the jobs from people.
Yeah, exactly. So, because if the process was manual before, and you have now made the process automated, realistically, right, and a ripple effect, it will have some level of redundancy. So these are the discussions that any serious trade union will want to have, because I mean we are in the process or in the work of protecting workers and protecting job sustainability. So at the end of the day, we will want to have that type of discussion. What are the impacts on the employees, negative or positive? And yes, they will have indicated some of the positive, but what are the negative impacts, the fallout of this device onto the employees? That is the type of discussion that we wanted to have. But how they was having the discussions were not really a discussion, but more a directive of what we were rolling out.
Yeah. So it wasn't a matter of, okay, I bring something to the table, you all feel free to share your thoughts with me. No. It was more of a, like you just said, given a directive, well, okay, this is what you all will be following. Yes. And it's really nice to see the industrial court upholding its constitutions here, because we've known so many times matters go to various courts, it's either thrown out, it's postponed, but very nice there from the industrial court as well. Now, I know this is coupled with many health and safety issues that you all are having as well. So just tell me a bit about those.
Yes, well, we have some health and safety issues primarily in Tobago, where we have some of our workers housed. And we have had some discussions with management. Yet again, it seems to fall on deaf ear because for the last 5 years, management had an opportunity to correct some of those ills, and yet still they have not. I think recently the USH agency will have went back to the PTSC and will have sent out a fresh list of other defects, health and safety concerns.
What are some of these concerns?
We have overcrowding, we have toilet facilities not properly maintained,
no health certificate, no fire certificate. So
in the event of a hazard,
yes, no. In some instances, there are no fire escapes, no fire drills being done. So when a fire comes, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You don't know who to go to. So it has been going on for a while.
I often wonder why build a building and you have no fire escape in the first place? And who said it was okay to have workers there?
Somebody.
So I mean, like Mr. Anisat was saying this morning, really and truly, it's the system. It's the system at stake here. You can't just throw up something and say, well, okay, I'm going to put workers here. It's not just management at risk. You have workers. You have it's everybody.
Yes. And there are a lot of health and safety issues, even in Port of Spain as well. For instance, poor lighting in the yard. So it have a lot of potholes.
Yeah.
So you could be walking, going, and I mean, yes, we have PPE wear, but you could be walking, going to your office, and your foot drop in a hole. So things like that, serious concerns like that, they are not even addressing as well. So when you come to implement a biometric system, we, the PSA, said, here's what, let us see if we can deal with these ongoing issues first. Let us see how we can fix these issues. Like, for instance, the 11 to 13 collective agreement, it has to be signed off. We haven't received the allowances for that period as yet. So we started telling the management in one of the meetings we had with Mr. Kova was being there, let's talk about 11 to 13. Yeah. Let's sign off on that. Let's talk about 14 to 16. Let's talk about confirming employees who have been acting for over 3-4 years within the organization. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
And we submitted it to them. They didn't get back to us, and now they wanted to implement the biometrics.
You know, funny enough, I'm sure the biometric system that they wanted to introduce was very costly.
Of course.
That same money could have been used
to fix. Yes.
It may not be able to fix all the issues, but some of them at least.
Able to address some.
Yeah. And then you talk about, time and time again we hear mismanagement of funds, and I think that would have been, if that was implemented, that would have been a clear example of yet another case of mismanagement of funds.
Yes, you're right.
In terms of negotiations though, even yesterday we would have seen Tutor held its mass demonstration calling for their salaries, negotiations, and it's something that is so continuous. Do you have any hope that this might be resolved sometime soon?
Well, yes. What we are saying is that the negotiation process, they often wait till the 3 years is up to start negotiations, and we are saying it don't benefit the workers.
Yeah, it does.
Because your money is already devalued at the end of the day, right? Everybody wants to be at current rate, and that is what we have always been pushing. But for some reason, the management never takes on that progressive approach and always lay back until, you know, the 3 years up, and now we are almost 6 years, because, but in us, we have 11 to 13, we have received the salary, but we still have the applicable allowances not signed off. So you can see that that is also outstanding. Then you have 14 to 16, and then you have 17 to 19.
Yeah.
Right? So you have all these outstanding agreements. And so right now, you have members working on 2013 salary.
I mean, how does someone really survive on a 2013 salary?
We make it happen.
How you all make that happen?
Every day is magic. Every day is a magic.
We are magicians.
Magicians.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And we still on 2008 allowances. So like the traveling, we have the meal, those allowances, 2008.
I mean, I want to pry here, if I may.
Yes.
What is traveling allowance?
That is whereby a worker, let's say for instance...
no, the cost.
The cost is, it's like...
What is allocated for traveling allowance?
About $80. Yeah, it's a 2 period, so it's 40 by 40.
That is for 2 days. That's for 2 days.
Yeah.
That has to be for 2 days. It cannot be from...
No, if you're talking about the traveling, technically to go and stay, it's a different amount.
Yeah. Right.
But if you're looking at just being able from your base to another location for the day, it's like the current periods. So like it's $40 per period. So like maybe if you cover 2 periods, it's like $80 for the period. So it's something like called a dislocation. But in the monthly paid stream, it's called subsistence.
Okay.
And we also have the kilometric allowance as well. That's if you take a vehicle and you're a traveling officer.
Right.
So it's based on how much kilometers you did, it will calculate. But I think it's $1 something or $2 and something.
But it has increased. The 2013, the last negotiation that the president will have concluded, it will have increased. But we have not been able to access those allowances because the excuse being made by the management is that the CPU has not given them instruction to sign off on it.
It's just ludicrous because the circular that we got, it said all statutory authorities, civil servants, everybody has to adopt those allowances. But then again, PTSC does do what they want, right? And then government changed, and that is how it's stuck where it is now.
And then you have the implementation of, or the possible, I mean, they wanted to implement something.
Because the judge instructed that no biometrics should be implemented before negotiations.
It's completed.
Okay.
And all negotiations, because you know we have another RMU at PTSC, which is the Transport Industrial Workers Union as well. Now they are currently going through their negotiations, and actually in the memorandum that they sent, it said that PS monthly paid would have to use the biometrics from the 1st of November, and fortnight pay, which is under TU, would have to utilize it by the 14th of November. So I know for a fact that we are under one umbrella, under NATUC, so I know things would be in place for them as well. So
I do hope so.
Yeah, I hope so as well. I hope so. But this is to me, I see it as a battle, and it is.
It shouldn't have been like that in the first place.
Right, and they made it reach to that level.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they did.
I think this is just again, and we've seen this happen so many times where management just drop things on the workers without any kind of proper consultation. Nothing is being transparent, and you expect workers to just comply.
Yeah, and work happy.
But you all have to be commended, because it's not every day we see people actually standing up for their rights. I made that point earlier today. So many people suffer in silence, and it takes a lot to come out there and speak for your rights. And well, you have the support of the PSA, of NATUC, and who's better to do it than Mr. Gregory Koval?
True, you have a point. Yes.
All right, guys, I want to ask you all your closing comments before we wrap things up.
Okay, well, firstly, I want to send a shout out to all the hard-working workers of the PTSC. The bus drivers on the road, be safe. I know the road is a bit wet, but again, we have the safest, reliable service in the country, PTSC service. So a shout out to them. My closing comments is at the end of the day that we have to work together.
Yes.
Management and union has to work together for the sustainability of the organization and to propel the organization forward. So we have no problems in working with the management. It's just that the approach is not what you do, but it's how you do it. And that is what I like to say.
Yes. Well, I want to say thank you for PSA TV for having us here. We really do enjoy every time we come here at PSA. And to all the workers, both fortnight and monthly paid, you know, you all continue doing your best because you do your best. And we are here to support you all 100%, even to you as well.
Yeah, PSA got your back. All right, so we're going to head to a really short break right now and come back with more. Stay with us.